All right, we are live. So this is another one of those live streams where we are going to chat about all topics reef related. So welcome to Treasure Corals, and in today's live stream, I wanted to bring up a topic of economy. I think anybody who's been watching the news have seen some turbulence in the markets in the last couple of weeks, especially what happened previous Monday and previous Friday. And I figured this would be a fun, with a question mark, topic to discuss with the you fine YouTube folks. So, okay, thanks for letting me know about the volume. Let's crank it up a little bit. How does that sound? Is this better? Don't hold back. If there's anything I can do to make it better, let's make it better. So I'm trying out this fancy new mic. There, test. How's the sound coming? Is it coming from here? I just want to make sure that. Okay, I will fix it. Sorry about that. Video capture. Okay, hold on. I'm prepared for that as well, so just bear with me here. Test. Is this louder now? I think we're getting kind of in the a little bit crazy territory here, or no? Is this optimal? Is this the optimal sound or not? Let me know. As we are getting ready here for this. I'm just looking at my audio, and it seems to be at least the stats on the camera. Okay. Thank you, Fish Ventura. Now, is this better or is this awesome? Is the audio as good as it can possibly get? That would be my my question to you. And as I do this, let me see if I can bring up some software here. So just have fun. We'll get things going. There, wave, wave link, test. No, I think it should be pretty good now, from what I'm seeing. Not loud as normal. Okay, so I think that I will take this as a good sound. I can kind of crank it up a little bit more, but I think this is kind of where we want to probably stay. You are a software speaker, so it's good. Okay. Don't be. You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you will keep telling me to tweak it up and down. I'm still new to kind of this format. A lot of my videos are kind of run and gun, where I just take the camera and go and show things about my tank. But I'm trying different other formats, and this is a little bit different. But I think it also is going to be a little bit higher production value, and it's going to be fun there. So, okay. Test. Let me see if I can increase the gain a little bit here. I think it's a little bit better probably now. Hold on a sec. Okay. All right. I assume that things are looking good. Let me just test. Okay, that might be a little bit too much. So we're getting into the red here. I think this is going to be pretty good. Okay, let's get going. So welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to do a little live stream with it's raining over here in Toronto, Canada, and couldn't think of a better time to hop on the mic here. I know I can say that. I'm hopping on a mic. I have a cup of coffee in my hand, and we are gonna talk all things Reef. So let's get going. All right. I see folks are logging in. I see that I see your chat over here as well. And I think what we are going to do is we will talk. So today's topic is going to be anything that's related to the, not necessarily the economy in general. I'm not qualified to talk about that, but we can talk about the economy of reef aquariums and reef hobby. So this is the topic for today. So welcome, and let me just pull up my chat on my phone here as well, so you can see me here, and I can see kind of the stats. Why am I? Okay, so this is live. That's perfect. Okay. So I've put together a few notes, but for anybody who has been watching the news in the past week or so, just a little bit over a week, we've had some very turbulent times on the markets, and I've been thinking a lot about it as I go to different stores here in Toronto. I talk to the shop owners. I also talk to the individual aquarists, and I also speak from my personal experience. I think the hobby has gone through quite a significant change. When I started out in reef aquarium hobby, I think maybe less than 15 years ago, but over 12 years ago, it was extremely, it was expensive even then, but compared to where things are right now, it seems very affordable. I could have $50 Canadian, which is probably $23 US. No, it's a little bit more than that, but not much more. I think that at some point we were even on parity with the US dollar, which was pretty awesome. But when I would just have, let's say, $50, and I would be able to go on a Friday night to one of my local stores. Shout out to no longer in business CU Marine. This was the store, and unfortunately, it's no longer in business. But I would have $50, and I would go in and I would come out with at least, say, 3 or 4 little fish. I think Banggai Cardinal or filefish or firefish. Sorry, not filefish. Although probably that would be the same in terms of the cost. And I think a yellow tang was $40 on sale, maybe $45. So if you had $45 in your pocket, you could get pretty much any tang out there. And a coral colony would cost roughly the same. It was about $40 for, something not crazy, but decent. And like a crazy colony would be 80 to maybe 100, but that's kind of what it would top out. Now, this was before we had all the fancy, named coral. The only named coral at the time were things like or a red planet, maybe Oregon tort, a few of those OGs. But you didn't have any of the Walt Disneys of the world, and you could not imagine. I remember the time when Pink Cadillac hit the market here in Canada through Reef, and I know somebody who paid, I think, $1,700 for like one frag that was maybe 1.5 inch, like with 2 little branches or something like that. So $1,700 for a Pink Cadillac. Now, right now they are a lot cheaper and costs a lot less, but you have other corals that have taken its place. But the point of, I guess, the point that I'm making is that the corals, it was definitely more affordable. Now, fast forward to today, and I think that it's a lot harder, unless you have a certain budget to go in and buy things. And I'm sure there is a market for a $300 or $400 yellow tank, but I've never bought one at that price. I actually have not bought a yellow tank in I want to say 7 years. This is just so much money, and I'm sure many can relate. However, this business still exists, and that's where prices are. Fish Ventura says DNA sample only. What does DNA stand for in this case? I'm curious. I'm not sure I quite follow. And FDL says, I'm in the US. The prices on some websites stay the same, but you would need a microscope to see the frag on the plug. Yes. And not only that, I would say that the prices on the fish also have changed. Like, I mean, you can still get a blue tank or hippo tank for, say, $80, but don't be surprised if this thing is going to be the size of a, I don't know, 2 quarters or something like that. Yes. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Okay. Let's. Yeah. Thanks for joining. It's good to see a few more folks starting to join. We are talking economy and kind of the impact of economy onto our hobby. So what? First, let me preface once again. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to the economy. I did listen to quite a few podcasts lately because I was just very curious about it, and I would say that even the experts out there don't necessarily all agree whether there has like if there is a recession, no recession. There is such a thing that's called a sum rule, or it's there's a lady that put together some sort of a metrics on the unemployment versus I think some of the other economic metrics, and she actually believes that something has happened. No idea. I'm just talking about where the hobby is at right now, especially in Canada, but North America, and perhaps even globally. I do follow a lot of stores internationally and in North America, so I have some idea. But also, this is a perfect opportunity as you folks are joining to maybe anecdotally talk about your experiences here and there. Now, let's. I just want to check the chat. Oh, okay. Check 1, 2. Very nice, very nice. How do you like my audio setup? This is where I had to really geek out with somebody that who taught me how to set up the audio. We have a true audio expert in the chat, so maybe he can give a few pointers on the audio quality. I'm trying to really up my game here. Okay. So FDL says my first hippo tank I got from Petco was less than $40, is now a little over $100. That's, yeah. So now, is that because of the inflation and just if you can compare where the prices were, like gas, for example, the gas was half the price or even more than half a price 15 years ago. So is that the case? I have no idea. But this is where things are. If I recall, Mike Paletta had put together an article maybe a year ago where he compared where the hobby was 10, 15 years ago and where it is right now. And if you adjust for inflation and whatnot, I think his point was that it hasn't really become that much more expensive. But one thing that we didn't have at the time, we didn't have any designer coral or fish. So, yes, in the bathroom with me. All right, folks are really joining in here. So, if you're just joined, make sure to share the link with your friends, and also like and subscribe. Just let's have some fun here. So it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, early afternoon here in Toronto. It's raining outside, or I think it was raining. I have my coffee, and we are talking reef and fish here. So I guess the first point I want to make is that there is a reduced discretionary spending. So what does that mean? That means that when your bills are so high that your Walmart or groceries or maybe your house, or the car, the gas, all of those things, they obviously take priority over the niceties of, okay, I want that latest Goni that's sparkling pink or whatever it is. That becomes less important. And unfortunately, that that affects the stores, and there's going to be less traffic to the stores. But at the end, everybody votes with their dollar. I think also it's important to kind of put things in reference where we were, say, 4 years ago, where people were at home a lot more, and they were able to spend time on their aquariums. And right now, people go to work more. Some places are back to full 5-day work week. Some are 3 days, but in any case, this is affecting the hobby. So reduced discretionary spending is one of those aspects. I enjoy reading some of your comments over here. This is fun. Soft topic, but do you do 15% water change all in one day or throughout the week? No worries. Give off-topic things. I'm pretty good at following multiple trains of thought, or maybe I just say that. But to answer your question, I do daily continuous water change. So I've programmed my Ecotech Vectra to do both adding water and removing water at the same time, and I try not to do it throughout the full day. I try to kind of compress it into about 6 to 8 hours. Just this way, if something goes wrong, I can kind of more keep an eye on it. But yes, continuous water change all the way. I really like it, and this has served me very well in the past, at least. 222, that GH. I have no idea what GH is. Best, okay. All right. So we are talking about the discretionary spending. And unfortunately, if there's going to be less discretionary spending, our wonderful vendors, whether it's dry goods, equipment, or corals, will take note of that and will either have to even further raise the prices to recoup the cost of those jam tanks and other expensive equipment, or basically you're just not going to be able, like, they won't import or sell those high-end goods because again, if a jam tank costs $600 or $700 but nobody buys it, well, that's a problem. You also have to think of the stratification of the market, where there will be a lot of have-nots and just a few haves. So some folks will be able to afford those very expensive fish, but 99% of the reefers will not. And this is not the world that is going to be very pleasant to live in, I think. Okay, this is not a TV. If anybody thinks that this is TV and I just don't know how to hang it, that's not the case. This is my YouTube studio. I'm still working. I'm considering putting a little reef tank in this room. Maybe some sort of a nano. It's been a very long time since I've had a nano, so maybe that's what will be. Oh wow, okay. So reduce discretionary spending is one. The other one is going to be, the other interesting effect of this is going to be increased do-it-yourself and budget-friendly solutions. So when we say budget-friendly, we're talking, first of all, imports from maybe less reputable brands or different markets. So that would be one thing. And another one is going to be, well, maybe I will buy something and assemble it myself. I know Avast Marine used to sell certain products where they would be a little bit cheaper, but you would receive it and then you would put it together. And for some folks, it's not a problem, and maybe that's totally acceptable. Can't really say that, but everybody will choose for themselves. But also, excuse me, this will be a pretty cool opportunity for some folks, because somebody else may come up with a cheaper solution and get to market. But as always, that triangle of price versus the quality and whatever the third thing would be, you cannot hit all three. So you cannot have something super reliable, cheap, and I guess, I don't know, high quality or whatnot. So that would certainly be where you would have to pick. So things will be less reliable, they will fail more, and that's obviously, again, not the way I would prefer to be running my reef. I would rather pay a little extra and have something that's quality. Again, whether it's a dry good, like an equipment. I don't want my pump to fail every 6 months. And same for the fish or coral. I wouldn't want a coral that would die or a fish, because if you get fish that, let's say, are 30% cheaper or 20% cheaper, which a lot of times you may find in some stores, but if that fish dies on you, or more likely to die, then you are actually losing money and wasting money. So that's another thing. So can you do a video on how you set up your auto water change? I will certainly do that. I will. Unfortunately, I don't think I can bring up my Mobius right now, just because it's a little bit far away from the water change system, but I will certainly do that. And Lately, I've made a very significant change to my automatic water change. That is something that I'm very happy with, and I'd like to share it with you in the upcoming episode. Now, another item is the secondhand market growth. So what does that mean? That means that instead of going to the store to get that new coral and pay the retail price, folks will be going to Facebook and Kijiji or whatever trading system they can think of, and or through just other networks, and they will buy things at a cheaper price from folks on those channels. I think that's another I guess possibility. So this market already exists. It's pretty vibrant, but I can see it being even bigger than where it is right now. So secondhand market growth. Wow, red is the same thing like fish, but red. And I think you need to have a little pluck about this. This is it's very deep. It's something. What was the name of the in Ninja Turtles, the rat, the old rat? Well, this is what probably that rat would say. Snooper? No, it had some funny name. Okay, moving on. Potential decline in new hobbyists. So this is a big one, and probably this is the one that I'd be certainly very worried about, because I remember when I would keep a lot of freshwater fish, but I was very much intimidated by saltwater scenery. Saltwater seemed inaccessible. It's definitely a very high learning threshold when it comes to just even understanding where things are and how to go about your setting up the aquarium, learning about the salinity. You need to actually have a distilled water. Oh my God! There's a lot of things, and then you realize that, and then you ask, well, how much is the kind of entry level setup? And they'll tell you, say $500, and you think, oh my God, this is so much money. And then once you actually go in, you realize that it's a lot more. Unfortunately, it's extremely expensive, and it's in for a penny, out for a pound. So basically, it costs a lot. And if the economy is not doing very well, I think that we will have less reefers joining this wonderful hobby, and maybe more folks will go into freshwater because it's definitely cheaper, but it's not going to help aquarium hobby. Master Splinter, yes. Whatever he's gonna do with a stick. I need that stick. Shredder is the nemesis. So yes, oldie but goodie for sure. Okay, let's see what else is. Tim Johnson is saying, if a hobbyist is considering whether the aim should be to simply have a beautiful tank, or is it worth to sell, trade extra coral on the way? Do you recommend selling, trade on the way? Any advice? Well, that's a very good question, Tim. I think that there is definitely pros and cons to selling, let's say, coral. On one hand, it's if you're doing really well and you have coral growing and there's some nice coral, and at some point you need to cut it and you need to do something with it, and your options are to either bring it to the local store and maybe get a little bit of credit, which is, I think, probably the easiest solution and the least hassle. Or you can start hopping on the Facebooks of the world and posting things there, and then you can meet people. And I've done both, and I also deal with like I actually have sold coral on my website as well. So there's many different ways. Probably the best way that I ever had was many years ago when there was no Facebook. You had other groups that were a little bit better, in my opinion. I actually despise many things about Facebook, and I dread using it for many reasons. But having said that, their marketplace is pretty good, but you cannot sell live animals on it, and they consider coral to be a live animal, which on one hand is not incorrect, but on the other, I think that's silly because it's different than a rat. Like, I mean, I agree that we should not be maybe selling rats on marketplace for some ethical reasons. I can see that argument, but I don't see any argument for the coral, especially if it happens in in the same city. If there was one rule I would like to be reverted, that would be it. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and there's a lot of hassle. Like, I mean, you have to take a nice photo, you have to aim, you have to label it. Now you have to not go to marketplace. You actually have to go to all those forums that are run by different admin with different rights and different rules. You have to read those rules. Then you have to post things, and then when you do post something, I just realized my camera is a little bit crooked. Sorry. Let me do this. It's not too bad. Hold on. I think I pressed something. Okay. Maybe I should not touch anything else next time. So you have to post stuff online and on those groups, and then you cannot put the price in. So people use like images of the prices, and then all this PM is the key. So you have to do that. It's definitely a hassle. And then the only nice thing about this is that potentially you actually may meet some awesome people, which I have in the past. And there's many great aquarists out there, and you can learn from them. So this is pretty cool. All right. So to answer your question, I would say you're not necessarily going to make any money off of that, but if it helps offset the cost of this hobby, I think it's not a bad thing. So for me, it has always been excuse me. It has always been one of the rules that I set for myself was to try and set up my aquarium hobby to be net zero. So what that means is I'm using this YouTube channel, I'm using my website. I do all of these things primarily to offset the very high costs of keeping this hobby, and that worked for me. But having said that, it was also, you maybe sometimes stop thinking of it or treating it as an actual hobby. It almost like gets more into the business territory, and I think that's a problem because it's going to rob you of the joy of that. So my advice, unless things will just come naturally for you, think of it as enjoying the hobby and do it this way. This is kind of what I would always prefer to do, but it's easier said than done. Okay. What coffee is that? Oh, this is hilarious. Some of the comments are a little bit out there. Hold on. So, Tim, I hope I answered your question. Fish Ventura is saying, I'm going to rely on my colony of home wrecker when the economy slumps, but I buy bulk good once a year at Black Friday. I then do the PAL, 6 months, no interest to pay it or pay. I'm not sure of that particular service, but I think it's a good idea. Listen, it's important to be creative, and at the end, this is your own money, and you manage your hobby any way possible. There's many different ways to run this. On the other side of things is, let's say, a Polo Reef, which is probably the most kind of out there tank in the world, probably, and I'm sure even they know exactly how much they are spending, and they probably do some ways to offset the cost through let's say YouTube and marketing and a whole bunch of other things, but this is where you would see one fish costing $10,000, and that's going to be very hard to offset. So there are levels to this game, and I would say that you become as creative as you can, and be your own judge. What coffee is that? This is a coffee. So if you're in Toronto, I highly, highly, highly recommend this brand. It's called Social Coffee. Let's see if you can focus on that. Yeah, that's the one. This is the... I've had this cup for a very long time, and I make my own coffee right now. I'm having a cappuccino, and I'm really enjoying it. Okay. Oscar Rodriguez. Hey, as a new hobbyist, Aquatic Log app is helpful. Thank you. Yes, to anybody who doesn't know, Aquatic Log is the app that I make. I'm the developer, and I feel very passionate about it. I enjoy coding in my spare time, and I use this app right over here. Let me get out of the frame. Oops. Yeah, you can actually see me there doing this at the same time. But yes, this is the two of my aquariums. This is the farm, and then there is the Reef experience. And I'm very, very passionate about the app. So you can see all of my parameters. If you look at the links in some of my videos, you can see, you can go to aquaticlog.com and find my aquariums. You can see that, let's say my farm has been around for 3 years, and you can see every single parameter right over here. I can go on to history. It will tell you everything about it. So this is pretty cool. I like it, and thank you very much for letting me know. Serious is the new sexy. I'm all about bringing the sexy back. FDL, what's cheaper, Kalkwasser or two-part dosing? I think Kalkwasser is a lot cheaper. If you believe it, I still have not enabled anything other than Kalkwasser on my Reef experience tank, which is 7 foot, 300 plus gallons, and it's already pretty full with coral, and I'm just doing auto top off with Kalkwasser. Now, I think this is going to change, and I'm going to start doing the 2-part, but Kalkwasser has worked very well for me so far, although it's not getting any love lately in the hobby. Let me know what you think. Please say hello. I need to say hello to George, or the short name for George would be Gosha. Interesting. All right. Do you... Okay. I got a couple of very close admirers that I'm bringing up a few things in the chat. Okay. Thanks, Tim. So moving on. So potential decline in new hobbies is one more aspect of potential, like if we run into recession. However, there will be opportunities for local businesses. So sometimes instead of importing stuff and paying like the cost of the coral, a lot of it is the actual shipping, and same for the fish. Well, we'll be more incentivized to be buying local. So it kind of comes back to, I guess, Tim's question. If you're the store and somebody like Tim brings in a nice colony, well, that's perfect. Take it, split it into frags, offer it to local folks, and the store makes money. I'm all about supporting the local stores. Remember that when you've got your little tank here and there, and then you have a coral and you want to make some money off of it, you're not paying the rent and employees and a whole bunch of other things, including probably taxes, and the stores have to do all of that. So I respect that a lot, and I think that it's important to support your local stores, which I always try to do. Okay. What else? We've got opportunities for local businesses, stress relief, and mental health benefits. I've put this one together. So that's one thing I think that helped through what we went through 4 years ago, where people were at home. I think having a nice hobby like this is very useful. Now, having said that, it's not that it's not. For me, at least, it's not really stress relieving. I think some parts are, but for that I need to really have a lot of leisurely time and just not rush into it. So if I can switch to that mode, I think it's very rewarding, and it can help with the stress. But if you are juggling a whole bunch of different other activities, and this is, you just kind of come in and you have to clean the glass, but also your pump is broken, and you have to switch it, and then one coral is touching another coral. That's far from not being stressful. It's extremely stressful, and I would not recommend that. So that is my thought process. So every time when I have friends come over and or just folks come over, and they will go, "Oh my God, this is such a relaxing hobby." It couldn't be further from the truth. It can be very, very stressful, and you are looking after live organisms, especially when it comes to fish. So you have to do your part in not messing up and creating the best possible environment for them. But also, it's a lot of money that you have, floating in the tank, or encrusted in the tank, and that's another one of those things that you have to be mindful of. All right, corals do touch, yes. Interestingly enough. Some of those comments. Yes. So I got a couple of very close friends who they don't know a single thing about coral or fish, but apparently about reds. And they just hopped on the channel, and I think they're just having some good-natured fun here. So I think it's entertaining, at least. Let's see if they will actually want to send me one of those super chats. I'll call them out on that. All right. Okay. Whatever. Now, stress relief and mental health benefits I talked about. The next one is innovations and new products. So guess what? When things get tough, this is when we innovate and when we come up with other ingenious ways of doing things. I think the hobby is so much different than it was, I want to say 10 years ago even. It's a completely hobby than it was 20 years ago. While fundamentals haven't changed, the equipment is 100 times better in my opinion. The lighting is better. It's more efficient. You can have access to some things that are better when it comes to livestock, but also some things gotten worse. But this puts fire under us and gives us incentive to do things better with our hobby. So this is yet another way that the businesses can innovate and come up with maybe either cheaper or more efficient solutions. Community building and support. I think that we are going to see a much better, maybe another surge in. I always mix them up. Surges. So, anyways, it's going to be an influx of maybe more social interaction, trying to offset the costs of this. Hilarious. Oscar Rodriguez, what's your opinion on? Oh my goodness, 279. This is my first super chat. I'm very honored. Let's celebrate. How do I celebrate? I can clap. This is I need to have like a button or something with fireworks or something anytime somebody does the super chat, and maybe I'll come up with some way to say special thank you for the super chat, whatever it is. Oh my God, those guys are on on fire. Well, thank you for buying me some coffee. I really appreciate it. So cheers. I'll come up with some way to say thank you. If you have some ideas, let me know. But very impressive. That's hilarious. Okay, sorry, Oscar. I got sidetracked here for a second. We're talking. What's your opinion about using a UV sterilizer? Do you use one? What kind and what type and pump? So that is actually a topic I'd love to talk about. I have quite a few things to say. One, anecdotally for myself, I've never really used one of those big UV sterilizers. I believe in them. I think it's awesome, and there's a few deterrents for me that kind of prevented me from ever using one. Some of them have to do with just the complexity of setting it up. You need to do plumbing. You need to so, for example, where my Reef aquarium stands, there's it's going to be next to impossible to put it inside of the stand unless I will, have to sacrifice with something else. I'm talking about the UV sterilizers that are kind of suggested in this hobby are those big bazooka looking like things. They are. They start at 55 watts, and they are maybe this big, maybe even more. And to add an insult to the injury, they're expensive, very expensive, and you have to have a pump to drive it, or you have to have a manifold, and you have to put them vertically. This is apparently the thing, and then you also have to be mindful that if there is no water, for example, you ran out of power or something like that, you have to plumb it the way that the water will still stay inside of the tube. Otherwise, you will you'll burn it down and bad things will happen. So all of those things kind of caused me to not do it. But if you look at all the videos I've done of other aquarists, almost every one of them who's got an amazing looking tank, they run it and they love it. And I always want to do it, and then I kind of give up on that. So if you can do it, especially if you have like a dedicated fish room and you have some space and everything else, do it. Now, there's the second part. There's a second part of this, and that is those small, cheap UV sterilizers. And I bought some from Amazon, and anecdotally, they worked very well for me. So we're talking about 9 watts, and even on a 400-gallon system, it actually was able to help me when I dealt with some dinos in the past. But they're built horribly. They don't last, and for whatever reason, they do leak. So the tube itself, starts leaking. Like it's horrible. So you can actually do a lot more harm if you don't manage it properly and whatnot. So I gave up on that. I had a few, and I never had a good experience. So I can't really recommend that particular one. So that's kind of my experience. If you can get a really good UV, do it, and I think you'll be very, very happy. Okay, so that is Oscar. I'm just looking at some of your comments here. Lots of a lobster emoji. I appreciate that. It takes courage. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm continuing. Another thing that will come of the recession, potential recession, is going to be sustainability and ethical practices. So I think that has always been my vision for what I do with my corals. So as many of you know, I have a coral farm, and in that coral farm, I grow only. So I sell only the coral that I would grow myself sustainably. So I don't, although I had opportunities, and I still do, but I never have just taken a coral from somebody else and split it up and then try to sell it, or go through the go through, let's say, I would never ship it from overseas and deal with CITES and everything else. This is what I think proper businesses should be doing, and I'm a big believer in only selling stuff that I can grow in my aquariums sustainably over the period of many months or years, and where I've had success. So every single coral that is on treasurecorals.com comes from my aquarium, and usually these corals have been with me for 5 years and longer. So anytime it overgrows, I will frag it, and then I can offer it to the public. So and I ship everywhere in Canada. So for anybody who's in US, unfortunately, you cannot get any corals ordered from Canada. We don't ship cross-border. Nobody can really. And when it comes to dry goods, though, that's a different story. So a lot of stuff that you see on the website, it's all handmade. I make it and design it myself, and it's pretty awesome. But anyways, check out treasurecorals.com. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's visors, tweezers, a whole bunch of organizers. So these are the things that I believe in and use them daily. So Fish Ventura is saying recession, lots of used equipment on the market, 2025 maybe. That's kind of what I heard. I actually listened to a podcast yesterday where the folks a lot smarter than me were talking about it, and they were saying that we're not quite there yet, but it may get there. So this is something that you just have to be mindful of and be prepared just in case. So that is kind of what the topics that I wanted to discuss. Let's see if you have any further questions for me. anything goes. You can talk about the farm, corals, aquatic log, Toronto, Canada, coffee, videography, anything that's on your mind. I'll give you a couple of minutes to just enjoy that coffee. And if that would be it, then that would be it. I hope you're spending time on your aquariums. I hope that we will see an uptick in consumer spending for aquariums. I think it's important. I think the big value that we as hobbyists provide to the industry is first of all, we help other businesses, we help other countries that import the fish and coral. So I think that's great. We're also, as long as things are done sustainably, you don't harm really anything. And we give back to the community. I think that the latest practices that we've learned in coral husbandry, spawning, fish spawning, all of that is because of a lot because of the coral knowledge and fish knowledge that we've acquired over the years and sharing them. So that's that. The shrimp is alive, yes. PNC, okay, yeah, that much growth through the pandemic and recession is more than due. Yes, yeah, we've seen a huge hit or uptick in spending right during the pandemic, and people were at home, and a lot of folks that wanted a hobby, they kind of jumped into it, and then that's perfect. But then when things start to get better, or you have to go to work more, this is where things will start to take a dive. I don't know if you know, but in our hobby, the average time in the hobby is only 18 months, which is a fascinating metric. That means that there's many people that are, 5 years, 10 years, such as myself. I've been just keeping reefs for close to 15 years, and I've been keeping aquariums all my life. But that means that there will folks that get an aquarium for 6 months and then they give up and they don't want to touch it again. So some of it is because the hobby is complicated and it just takes a certain level of dedication and accepting your failures. But also some of it is because we still don't know a lot of things. But I'll probably keep that. That's a whole other conversation in general. So 17 years, eh? Yes. So game recognizes game. Corals, FDL says corals are cheaper when from the ocean, but it is worth buying than agriculture of corals. Yes. Well, and then there's three kinds, right? There's the wild colonies, there is maricultured, and then there is the kind of native grown coral. And probably the native when I say I mean locally in wherever you are. So maybe native is not the right word. Locally grown, aquacultured, I guess this is a better way to say it. So aquacultured corals are probably the best option because then you just you're getting something that is extremely robust, that has a proof record that it's properly that it can thrive in captivity. which is what you want, and it can handle maybe the not so great conditions. The wild ones are pretty awesome because you get some crazy varieties and lots of potential, but also you'll are more likely to have some crazy pests that will come with it, and it can die for many other reasons. And then there is the mariculture, which is kind of in between. This is where you have a special place closer to the shore where folks grow corals in the native habitat, and then they come here, but probably the least interesting one of them all. So yes, correct. That's that FDL. That's what it is. Yeah. So, anyways, this is my thoughts on the economy. That's been on my mind for the past little while. I'm certainly getting concerned about this. I want to see the local stores thrive. I want to see the local hobbyists thrive as well, to succeed, and not just be limited to a very narrow set of coral species, but also not being some sort of a division of have and have nots, because some folks can afford the $400 coral torches and $800 gem tangs, and I think most of the folks cannot. And some of those corals are beautiful, and if we put in the right type of husbandry and maybe some thought about it, we can probably bring the price down and make it more affordable. This is kind of what my thinking is. Last question from FDL. Duncan next to hammer, good or bad? You know what? Duncan's, for whatever reason, has been my kryptonite. I know it's a super easy coral, but I have mine closed up. I'll probably do a video walkthrough of just kind of where things are, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. But they are awesome. Unfortunately, I would not keep them close by anyways. I think one of them, I think the hammer will sting the Duncan. But if there's even an inch or two of separation, I think it's fine. I don't think we need to worry about the chemical warfare when it comes to that. Tank hardened is all I've bought since they become available in Canada. Very smart. They're practically indestructible compared to anything from the ocean. Shop TC, which stands for Treasure Corals. Thank you. A repeat customer. And if you're Ontario. Not only if you're Ontario, I've shipped to many other provinces in the past. So that's how things are. Anyways, I want to say thank you all for joining us in today's little Sunday chat. I'm trying different form factors and kind of showing and trying to share my love for this hobby with you fine folks over there. So I wish you all the best. Stay strong with your reef love, and we'll go from there. FDL, if you're in US, you can still any dry goods that are on Treasure Corals, I can ship them, and it'll be on your doorsteps within a day or two. That's how fast we ship. Anyways, thank you all. Make sure to check out all the cool videos I do on Treasure Corals YouTube, and we'll go from there. Peace.